I can. So the girl we're talking about is me. And I grew up to be Wonder Woman. No, I'm just kidding. I did dream to be Wonder Woman. I wanted to save the world and be the most amazing person that I could be. I was taught to love everybody, to respect everybody, and that respect everybody's differences. I stated that in 2011, my world came crashing down. Well, what happened in 2011? A lot built me. I'm 34 years old. A lot built me before 2011. What happened in 2011 is I unexpectedly lost my mother. I'm the last person that heard my mother's voice in my family. I'm the last person to have a coherent conversation with my mother. I am the last person to speak to my mother when she wasn't coherent. And I'm the last person to know that she basically wished me all the illest things in the world to ever happen. And in 2011, I had to find my strength to overcome my mom's losing my mother. I mean, I lost my father already, and I had to find the strength of overcoming losing my mother and understanding that what she was saying in her final hours wasn't what she meant. I don't know if any of you guys have ever witnessed firsthand somebody passing away, but there's a stage where they lose their mental capacity. My mother turned to me and called me mommy plenty of times. My mother then called me a bitch. My mother then begged for my brother to come and help her and didn't want me there. I'm 34, no kids, and single. One of the reasons for that, and I'm sorry, Gizmo's going to be eating, so you're probably going to hear that, and I'm not editing this the way I normally do, because I want to be as real as possible with you guys. I mean, I'm just like Wonder Woman, but whatever. One of the things is, I'm single without kids, partially because my 20s were devoted to my mom. When I was in college, my mother's health started declining. She had CMT in a very aggressive form. There's plenty of members in first form that have CMT. My mother was diagnosed at a young age, and I'm actually going to stop this because Gizmo is he's chowing on it. If I'm in the kitchen, he has to eat. Gizmo. Pardon the little interruption. Oh, I have to kind of pick my wedge. Pardon the little interruption. Gizmo was just starting to chow down really loudly, and I couldn't get the focus. So as I was saying, there's plenty of members in first form that have CMT. CMT is short for Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. It is a neurological disease that is hereditary, and some people get it to varying degrees. Some people just get some muscle loss. Some people get some major deformities and muscle loss. My mother had such an aggressive form that she lost the ability to walk. When I was in college, it started really, actually it was when I was in high school. My brother was already away living in New York, and I was in high school. My mother had MRSA that she battled for 10 years, which is a like aggressive staph infection that's extremely hard to control and to fight. So she had that going on, so it weakened her immune system, plus she was diabetic and she had a lot of things going on. My mother was a single mother. She raised both my brother and I. We went to great colleges. She worked until her last dying day, literally. My mom, her health was always an issue. She didn't have like a heart condition or anything like that. It was more like diabetes. She had CMT, as I stated several times. She started losing even more of her ability to walk on her own, and while she was with the PICC line for the MRSA, it was easier sometimes for her to get around with a walker and a cane. Slowly that gradually became where she had to get around in a wheelchair. I don't know if any of you guys have ever dealt with somebody with an aggressive form is an adult who had the ability to walk. It's really hard to get like insurance to pay for things like a wheelchair. You would think, person can't walk, wheelchair, easy. No, it wasn't that easy. So my mother eventually was in a wheelchair, and before that I left school. There was two reasons why I left. One reason why I left, and the only other person, there's only a couple of people that know this, my family doesn't even know this, my mom knew. I went went to go to the movies with a friend who I thought was a friend, and I ended up getting locked in a house and had to fight my way out and flag down help and get back to my college campus. I didn't report it. I didn't file charges, and I regretted it, and I kept it to myself. And I didn't even tell my mother. I told my mom the main reason why I was coming home was because she wasn't doing well, and I needed to be there for her. I don't want to go into too much detail because that's a newsflash to somebody, and they don't know about it. I just don't want to go into it. So I went home, partially to take care of my mom. My mom was losing the ability to walk. She was living on her own, and I needed to be there for her. My brother, I love him dearly, but my brother was always focused on himself, and my mother always allowed him to be because she was a single mother raising a boy, and so she always felt a little bit of guilt inside of her that she wasn't raising a man to be the most, to be a man, because she wasn't a man to raise a man. They say a man needs to raise a son and things like that, needs to have a male influence. So my mother was, had a little bit of guilt for that. And if I ramble on, I am sorry. I'll try to make this a little bit faster and speed it up. I'll probably be the only editing I do. So anyways, I came home, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I was stressed out, and I was going through the cycles of years are going by, and I'm taking care of my mother, and my brother then got married, my brother then had a kid and a family, my cousins got married. I'm sitting there worrying about my mom. The deal was that my brother was eventually going to have her live with him. My mom lived by herself eventually because we butted heads, and also I was dabbling in drugs a little too much, and just because I needed an escape. I still don't know how much she knows of what I was doing, but because we just didn't talk about it. Sometimes things went without being said. And I needed an escape because I was working full time, and I was taking care of her needs, and I just didn't have a life of my own sometimes, and so I fought and rebelled, and I moved out eventually, and I still would help her, still would come and do her grocery shopping. We would do Friday night, we had this ritual of doing a Friday night dinner. Saturday we always spent at my grandmother's, and I was watching the years go by. I was watching all my friends get married, everybody have kids, and I wasn't having that because my mother was my top priority. So sometimes I say that I gave up my 20s for my mother. It's not a negative thing, it's not a bad thing, but sometimes you have to be real about what things were. So 2011, as I said, Friday night we're going to have dinner, and many of you may have seen some posts like from different athlete searches where I've added this on there, and posted about it. So the Friday night, my birthday, reminds you, my birthday's June 1st. Okay, so this was in March. My mom passed March 28th, which was a Monday, 2011. And on that Friday leading up to it, we had dinner, and earlier in the week we both weren't feeling well, whatever. But when I came over for dinner, lo and behold, my mother had my birthday present. My birthday's June 1st. Saturday, as I said, I went to my grandmother's every Saturday. So I went to go eat at dinner at my grandmother's, and my mom's not there. And I asked my family, I'm like, where is my mom? And they're like, oh, she wasn't feeling well and stuff. So they're like, can you go check on her? I didn't know how bad she wasn't feeling well. Like, my mom was the type that really didn't ask for help. She didn't ask for people to go help her. If she wasn't feeling well, she always took care of herself, usually. And the only person she would usually reach out to was me. For some reason, I don't know if she couldn't get in touch with me or what, but earlier in the day she had her mom and her sister come over, which was very unlike her to do, to come bring her medicine because she was feeling nauseous. And remember the words feeling nauseous, because this is a lesson to women, okay? So my mother wasn't feeling well and she was feeling nauseous, and so they asked me to go over there, so I ate real quick and I went right over to my mom's. The house was completely dark, all the lights were off, and she was in bed. It was 6 p.m. possibly. And I asked her, I'm like, have you eaten today? And then she shows me this anti-nausea stuff, and she starts complaining about her sister not doing something. My dad was, siblings, they do that. My mother did that plenty. So I tried to, assess what was going on with her. I stayed there, and she just wanted to sleep. I went in the freezer and got her some sorbet and fed her sorbet and of whatever she just really didn't want to eat it. But I forced her. I was like, you're diabetic, you need to get your blood sugar up. She just kept on complaining. She's nauseous, she's nauseous, she's nauseous. So, anyways, long story short. Fast forward, I stayed there and then until about 10 p.m. that night, and then I asked her, is it okay if I go home? I'm gonna go home, I'll come back first thing in the morning. Brother calls me at like 6 or something in the morning. Go check mom. I talked to mom. She doesn't sound good. So I called my mom. She actually sounded fine. She sounded better to me. So I go and I went over there because, that's the right thing to do. And I didn't even really put on regular clothes. When you're just rushing because you gotta go see what's going on. Throw on a wife beater, no bra. Surprise, surprise, no bra. I barely ever wear a bra. And then a little short, way too short. Almost as short as this. Shorts. Just because I'm thinking I'm going to be at my mom's house, comfortable, whatever. So I assessed her needs. I called her doctor. I said, Mom, can I call the doctor? Call the doctor. I feel like this is going way too long, and I'm so sorry. So I called the doctor, and he did not understand what her symptoms were. He was like, you need to call an ambulance. My mother hit a hospital, so we debated a while. Said, hey, you okay? She said, fine. Ambulance comes, go to the hospital. Turns out, one of the #1 signs for women, remember I said, remember being nauseous. One of the #1 signs for women for having a heart attack is not pain in your arm, weakness in your chest. It's nausea. It is nausea. My mother never suffered from nausea. That was why I knew something really bad was kind of going on. And then with further assessment, turned out she also had a stroke. So when you have a heart attack and bleeding on the brain, you can't really treat both. Because when you're treating a heart attack, you're treating it with blood thinners. But when you're bleeding on your brain, you can't treat that with blood thinners because then you exacerbate the bleeding. My mom quickly declined. And so this was that Sunday. That Monday, actually that Sunday, I called my brother and I told him what was going on. I was like, you need to get out here as soon as possible. He got out there, and I stayed at the hospital until possibly, I think it was midnight. And then they told me, they were like, you need to go home. I'd been there all day, you need to go home. Mind you, I was so uncomfortable too, because I was really wearing those, I was wearing nothing. And I don't know if you know how cold hospitals are. It was really uncomfortable. And then my mom started losing her mind, and it was just, I was freaking out crying because I'm sitting there giving trying to give her health information. Luckily I knew it. Trying to give all her health information to them, constantly updating her record and stuff like that, because she had a lot of health conditions. And meanwhile, she's losing her brain, and she's in her mind, and she's screaming bloody hell in the ICU that I'm a little fucking bitch, and my brother will save her, and then at some point she was calling me mom, and asking me to help her, and she kept saying the words no, 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 no. And there was a long time I couldn't hear the word no. Still have problems with it, but I hate the word no. I'm stubborn though, just like my mom. So anyways, by that night I got a phone call that they need to get permission to resuscitate her because she'd already passed one. Her heart stopped. And I said, yes, please do. Got changed. Down to the hospital. Came there and she passed again right in front of my face. My brother was on his way down, so I had to have them bring her back because I couldn't do that. Her mother wasn't there, my grandma. My aunt wasn't there. Like, I needed them to be there. I'm calling everybody in my family, and no one was answering right away because it was so freaking early. And I'm trying to get everybody to be there because I couldn't be there by myself. I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't even go in her hospital room. It was just such a scary experience. So finally my brother had gotten there, and my brother and I are very different. My brother is extremely religious, and my brother believes that miracles can happen, and we all do. I do believe in miracles, but my brother believes them in a different way than I do, and a different way than most people do, and also is very religious, so he had to consult his rabbi. There was a huge fight that ensued in the ICU. It was freaking awesome. Good times. We won the Family of the Year award. Anyways, long story short, my mom passed that Monday, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had no voice for a while. I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. I just was silenced. I was like in a shell. And my mother was a fighter. So I grabbed on her strength, and I was like, she doesn't want me to see me like this. This isn't the girl she raised. This isn't the girl I am. I've always been like a tough little spitfire. I mean, I'm so tiny. I have to kind of, I got heels on, of course. Come on, I'm wearing heels. So I fought back, because when I was growing up, my mother couldn't do a lot of physical things that most parents could do, and so she always pushed me to do them. And so I finally got back into my fitness stuff. I had stopped doing everything fitness. It was just like I couldn't even find a joy in the gym anymore. And I was like, I heard my mother's voice being like, this isn't you, and like it just dawned on me, like, I was not making her happy, being so upset and miserable and sad. And it's funny because I always find humor to bring me through a situation. Even during her eulogy, I literally made everybody crack up. Because that's just what I always have used. That's why I talk really fast in the videos. That's why I'm a weirdo. Like, I'm dressed up like Wonder Woman because I wanted to be Wonder Woman. But I always found to be lighthearted, to be humorous, and to just have a good attitude about things. And I wasn't having that anymore. And so I leaned on my mother, though she wasn't around anymore, and I leaned on her to get me through everything. This isn't even my entire story of what has happened to me. I know that some of you guys in the Summer Smash group saw me reference a carjacking. I was the victim of a attempted carjacking and attack that was actually in the news because in South Florida back before my mother had passed. And my mother was so proud of me for having the strength and the courage to actually fight back on that, and also not only fight back, but the guy ended up he's in jail for 15 years. I fought back because of the fact of what happened to me in college. I didn't use my voice. But I remember my mom being so freaking proud of me, and the news story actually aired about it after, like 2 years after the fact, after the whole court case and everything was over. And my mother, I remember her just watching it, the video online, and unfortunately the news channel doesn't have the video. I would have posted it for you guys. There is the print form out there of like what happened, but my mom was so proud of me for fighting back that I had to grab on her strength and get back into my fitness. I ran a race for heart disease to kind of give back to other people that are suffering from heart-related conditions. My mother never had a heart-related condition. It was seriously a silent heart attack. No one knew it was coming. So that's how I found my love back, getting my love back for fitness. I started doing CrossFit. I did some competitive CrossFit in South Florida, and then I moved to Atlanta, and I searched around for a CrossFit box here, and I wasn't happy with anything I was finding, and I needed something different. I needed a different goal. I felt like I wasn't seeing the results in my body I wanted, and I just didn't find, wasn't finding the joy in it as much anymore. Plus, like First Form is our family. A lot of people that may be involved in CrossFit would know that your gym, your box kind of becomes your family. So I needed to find that family again, and I couldn't find it in any of the CrossFit boxes here. And I was on a solo mission. So I was like, what's my goal? I got my heart broken. I moved up here for a stupid dude. Don't ever do that. Even though it was a wise business decision for me, but don't ever move for anybody. Move for you and only you and your goals, not for somebody else. So I needed to find something different, and I am sorry if I am rambling. I am just... So I had to find something different, and I wasn't finding that family, so I started competing in bikini, NPC bikini. And I had a coach and everything like that, and you know, I loved it. I fell in love with it. Loved the girls backstage. Everybody was really supportive and loving, but I still was missing my family. I still didn't find that family yet. And then I found First Form. And I mean, just look at the post that I posted today, like about my complications with putting together this video. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know. This isn't even my full story. Like some of you guys know, I have a tumor, and that reappeared after it was removed in May, and now it's reappearing. And some of you guys know about that, and like you guys have been so supportive of me during this, which is really scary when you don't have a mom, you don't have a dad, and you have no family around you, and you can't find that family, and you find this group that just loves you wholeheartedly and just supports you no matter what your decision is. And if you have a bad day, you know, you can go on one of the family members' pages and find some type of source of inspiration. And if they're not inspiring, if you guys aren't inspiring me, I'm inspiring you. And that's how I can be that change. And it's really pushed me further to want to get my NASM. That's why I'm studying for my NASM right now. The staff has been amazing. Like we've had some conversations about getting my NASM, and you've been an awesome source of support. And Robert, you know you are going through it with me, and we're gonna get this NASM. And we're gonna be awesome with it. But not even just that, there's other bikini girls that are in the family that we share prep stories and competition stories, and that's been awesome. But there's people outside of the competition world that have just been like, Deanna Cummings, like you become like my little sister. I freaking love you, little girl. And yes, little girl, because I'm a lot older than you. You always make me feel great that like the messages I try to send are going out there. I mean, Garrett Washburn, there's no other way more that I can tell you how much of a friend you've been to me. You actually knew about my tumor before I even told my family. before I told my employer, before I told anybody. That's why you're my wingman. There's so many, like, Cassie, I freaking love you for being honest and open about being one boo wonder. Sorry, I just have to be a dork for a second. There's just so many of you that have just touched my heart. And like Ryan Watt and we've had our little, like, he's such a motivator, and then sometimes we'll like butt heads and little things, but I like how we always like talk it out through our little comments. It's great. I've loved motivating a lot of you guys and hearing your stories, and I know that there's so many people I'm not mentioning that are you guys are my family. Like Erica, I'm so freaking happy that we finally met at Summer Smash. You live down the freaking street. Like, I could probably scream your name out this window and you'll hear me. I'm just so blessed and so fortunate to have found this group of amazing people, and to be associated with First Form and to represent First Form would be amazing to me. It's not about just being sponsored. Like, a lot of people are like, I want to be sponsored, I want to be sponsored. Well, why do you want to be sponsored? A, yes, it makes the competitions a little bit easier and more affordable. And B, I want to be sponsored because I want to represent something bigger than me. I want to represent a group of people that are doing good. A lot of you guys know I do a lot of volunteer work. I mean, I do not celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't do that. First of all, it's just a weird time. It's around my mom's birthday, so it's a weird time for me. Thanksgiving to me is always birthday cake at the end of my mom's birthday cake. So I just kind of always, it's ever since I moved to Atlanta, I've actually worked with Jose Feed the Hungry, and I serve, I cook, I do everything. So many of you have seen my videos that I post about, if you want to be the change, you gotta, do actions. Actions are what drives change. And I truly, fully believe in that. I do back to school programs with them, a lot of programs to get people back on their feet for getting in the workforce. You guys saw like a couple of months ago, I felt like I hadn't done anything in a while, and I made 50 bag lunches to feed the homeless because that's just what I do. And that's what I feel like a lot of people in this organization that are affiliated with First Form are about. It's bigger than us, and we are vehicles of change, and we are vehicles of good, and we are defenders of the earth. I sound like I'm about to like put together like some type of thing like that. Sorry, I had to do that. So I'm a weirdo. And I love that there's other fellow weirdos like Mike Trotter. Weirdo. Yes, you were the only one I took a picture with. Sorry, that was my little thing. So I am just rambling. Sorry. So yeah, why would I would want to be sponsored? Because I just want to represent with this company. It's not even a company. I don't feel like it's a company. I feel like it really is a family. You guys have just been amazing to me. You guys have shown support and just have always been there since day one. It's like, you're having a bad day, you just can always lean on somebody in this group. And I don't feel like there's that judgment that I feel. It's not aesthetics this, aesthetics that. Like, a lot of fitness people are so focused on aesthetics. Fuck aesthetics. It's all about what you bring to the table. It's not about freaking how good you look. If you are sitting there and you're going after your goals and you're staying positive, or you're motivating people, even on your worst day, I'd rather that than the finest looking person telling me what supplement to take. I'm sorry. It's not just a supplement company. It's not about aesthetics. It's a family, and we all witnessed that we're privileged to partake in Summer Smash. And those that didn't, I suggest you go next year. The love, it's like, you just feel like you can take on the world afterwards. And I feel like a lot of us are still on that high. I'm still on that high. I just have to onboard a new team that's in India this week, and it's just been, and then I realized, oh my God, I haven't done my video, so what am I gonna do? So yeah, that's it. Like, I don't know what else to say. I just love First Form. I love everything that it represents. I love the supportive staff. I love the supportive family members. I love that we all had such a good time. There was no drama. There was nobody fighting. Get a whole bunch of people drinking alcohol. Usually there's one brawl. None happened at Summer Smash. Because we are all good people going after being good and defenders of this brand. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to represent First Form. I want to be able to go to a show and be like, you're with First Form? Yeah. Well, people that know me, when I do my shows, I do kind of go ham with my First Form sweatpants, and I have my First Form charger, and I'm talking about First Form to everybody, and I got my First Form water bottle that I'm sipping when I'm intaking water. So just pick me. No, I'm just kidding. Even if I don't get picked for the athlete search, I'd be very blessed to represent as an ambassador. I would love to have more interactions. I sometimes can come off as shy in person at first because I get a little nervous or overwhelmed. I have a little bit of nervous tendencies. That's why I talk fast sometimes, and that's why I speed up my videos, and because I just get nervous, even when it's just a video. But anyways, I would love to represent First Form. I believe in everything that it stands for. I love the company. I freaking love Andy. I freaking love Emily. And Otis is going to be my security guard at my next party or something. I don't know. I asked Emily if he was for hire. I mean, he did a really good freaking job protecting the mud run. Don't you think? I think so. Anyways, I'm just kidding. But anyways, do it anyway. Pick me anyway. No. I'm done, I think, because I've talked too much and I've rambled. And I'm wearing my Wonder Woman costume. And this was very impromptu. This was not planned. All of a sudden I was just like, oh my god, I need an outfit. Because, I don't know, I always need an outfit. I'm gonna shut up now. I don't have my pants on.